The Mariners have wrapped up their first homestand after the break with a 3-3 record. Let's talk about it. Colby, hit it.
You are Locked On Mariners, your daily Seattle Mariners podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Ahoy, sailors. It is Wednesday, July 23rd, 2025. This is Titan Gonzalez and Colby Patnode for the Locked On Mariners podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. This episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use the promo code LOCKEDONMLB, that's LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. And as always, if you want to hear from me and Colby even more and help support the show, you can check out our Patreon. All you have to do to check that out is click the link in the description of this episode. Mariners lose to the Brewers 10-2 today. Really bad game. Really bad game. Really bad day at the office for JP Crawford in particular. We're not going to linger too much on that one. You probably already got your fill enough with Anders and Chris's postcast on that one. So we are going to talk about the homestand more as a whole, though. We're going to talk a little bit about Logan Gilbert, what he was able to do last night, the one big positive from this series. And there's a report out there that the Mariners may have called the Rockies about Ryan McMahon.
His favorite player.
Yeah. So we'll talk about that.
Can't wait to get you that custom Ryan McMahon Mariners jersey.
He's like the opposite of Donnie Barrels for me.
I mean, about as good of a hitter.
Which we'll get into later, and why we're not huge fans of the Ryan
Speak
McMahon
for
idea.
yourself, Ty.
Sure, yeah.
I love glove only third baseman. That's exactly what the Mariners need.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, so 3-3 on this homestand. They win 2 against the Astros, 1 against the Brewers. If you want to go back to right before the All-Star break, this little mini gauntlet that they've been on against the Yankees, the Tigers, the Astros, and the Brewers, 4 of the best teams in all of baseball. They go 6-6. Obviously, they got none of them against the Yankees, but whatever. They go 6-6 over that stretch. And like I said, Thursday, because we did Fan Fiction Friday. So Thursday, when we talked about the first half and the second half and talked a little bit about this homestand, I said that if you're going to lay an egg in one of these series, hopefully it's against the Brewers and not the Astros. And that's exactly what wound up happening. So, yeah, overall, I mean, it was a fine homestand. I feel like they left a little on the table, though.
Yeah, I mean, they had a good shot to sweep, Houston, and then Brian Wu just forgot how to pitch, which he's done a couple times this year. Been handed a lead and immediately surrendered it right back. He did it against Baltimore, if you remember that start. Fortunately, I do. I was at the ballpark. So, he's done that a couple times. So that was a bad loss. And then your bullpen just couldn't stop the bleeding today. You get 2-2. You have Castillo on the bump, and he's been really good at home. And you get really bad defense in this one. Castillo, it's not like Castillo gets off the hook entirely because JP made an error. He didn't do his part, and you really look at it, and this goes back even to the Yankees series. They went 6-6 in the stretch, which is pretty good. Again, considering these are 4 teams with 4 of the best 6 or 7 records in Major League Baseball right now. The Astros have the best record in the American League because the Tigers were broken by the Seattle Mariners. And so the Astros are actually the number 1 seed in the American League right now. But you go back to that Yankees series, and obviously, you lose the one to Brian Wu had the no-hitter going. You lose the game where Logan looked great, and then they had the rain delay, and then that just collapsed on you really fast. You have, obviously, the game with the 3-0 lead with Wu and against Houston. Like, there were 2 or 3 games where you should have won those games, and if you did, you're looking at this 12-game stretch going like, wow, they went 8-4 against, the 4 best teams or 4 of the best teams in baseball. Like, that is incredible. They just didn't. They didn't. And it really didn't work. It really hasn't worked so much the other way. Typically the Mariners win. They win. They've won pretty handily. Now this homestand, they had a couple wins that could have gone either way. But in general, they haven't. They've been pretty darn good and winning pretty pretty handily. So just kind of one of those things where 3-3, it's good. And again, if we said that 3-3 was good on Thursday, which we did, and we said, okay, how would you prefer to this break up? Like, how do you go 3-3 on the homestand? I think option one would have been sweep Houston.
Yeah.
Get swept by Milwaukee. But option two would have been win the Houston series, lose the Milwaukee series. So yeah, again, it's a little frustrating because you could have gone 4-2 pretty easily on this homestand. You also could have gone 2-4.
Sure.
Easily on the homestand. So it works both ways. But yeah, all in all, Seattle, this little mini gauntlet that comes on the back of an other gauntlet where you played 17 games and 17 days, and you did what you needed to do before the break. You did what you needed to do coming out of the break. It's not pretty. It's not the way you wanted it. You had an opportunity to really get some distance here, but at the end of the day, we're a week away from the deadline now, and the Mariners are firmly buyers, which is exactly what we needed them to be. So, kind of
all you needed to do here was just avoid complete disaster.
Yes.
So that, it doesn't swing in the complete opposite direction here, and you're going like, it makes no sense for us to buy at the deadline whatsoever.
Yeah, if you had gone 4-8, or if you'd gone 3-9 instead of 6-6, we might be having a completely different conversation. And that was on the table with how you were playing and how these other teams were playing. So you survived. Yeah. Again, you had an opportunity to flip it on its head the other way, but that works both ways. Yeah. You could have lost a couple as well. So, but yeah, I mean, overall, solid homestand, but a lot of problems were, I don't want to say revealed. They were like further hammered home that like, yes, you need help in these areas. And pretty much every position, every group that we're like, yeah, the Mariners need help here, that group costs them a game at some point on this homestand. So it's, I feel like the one thing we know about the Mariners is we know exactly where the holes are.
Yeah.
And we just don't know what hole is going to come up on a certain day to cost you a game or potentially cost you a game.
Yeah.
But we know that this team is incomplete. We know it's talented, but we know the floor of this team is very, very low, and games can quickly get away from them, as we saw on Sunday, as we saw today.
Yeah, and sometimes it just feels like the gap between them and that upper echelon of teams is enormous. And that's how it felt a couple of times over the last 3 days against the Spurs team.
Then there are other times where you like, we're just as good.
Yeah.
We're right there.
Yeah.
So this team is who we thought they are, and who we thought they are is we don't know who they are, if that makes sense.
Sure. Yeah. My takeaways from the homestand in general aren't as grand as they typically would be had they, maybe had this happened in May or even June, because really like this roster is going to hopefully look drastically different here in the next, 7 to 9 days. So, yeah, hopefully they are able to address some of those holes that you mentioned here, and be great if they just did something now. That would be cool. Like maybe reestablish the vibes here a little bit. Maybe even tonight before you go to Anaheim. Maybe get yourself a new player or two. I don't know. They typically have not waited. So the Randy Arozarena trade was made on July 25th. It's July 23rd. Like we're getting close to that mark now. And then the Luis Castillo deal was made on July 29th, 2022. So we're getting, I think we're getting pretty close to them making their first big swing of the deadline season. So yeah, I think that'll kind of fix the vibes here a little bit. But overall, again, like I said, like you just needed to stay afloat here coming out of the break. And they did that. Yeah, today was really disappointing and really frustrating. The loss on Sunday to the Astros was really frustrating, but overall, I think I would consider this still a successful homestand for them, just because it didn't result in absolute disaster.
Yeah, you still have 11 games to go before your next day off, though, so that could be troublesome. But again, you're going to LA, then you play the A's, then you play Texas. Day off, and then you get 3 at home against the White Sox. Like the likelihood that you can win the division might be determined in the next, 13 games or whatever, 11.
Well, And that Texas series is starting to look a little bit bigger than maybe you thought, because they're starting to play better ball, and they're right on your tail right now in terms of the wild card. So
Yep.
all right, so let's switch gears here. Let's talk about the really the lone bright spot. I mean, Cal hit his 39th home run last night, but the biggest storyline from last night's game for me was Logan Gilbert, what he was able to do, finally go 6+ in the 1-0 win for the Mariners last night. We'll talk more about that in just a moment. But first, a reminder: this episode of the Locked On Mariners podcast is brought to you by Monarch Money. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place, so you stop just managing your money and start building wealth. Instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch to check your finances, track spending, and even plan long-term goals. Managing money with your partner is smoother than ever. You can track shared and personal accounts, set goals, and stay on the same page without the stress. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use promo code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, promo code LOCKEDONMLB for half off your first year. And you're listening to the Locked On Mariners podcast. For instant reactions following every Mariners game, be sure to tune in to the Mariners postcast with Anderson Hurst and Christopher Crawford, available on both the Locked On Mariners YouTube and podcast feeds. So even though there has been another game that's happened between last night's win and this episode, I did want to take out some time on this show to talk about how good Logan Gilbert was last night, because he was fantastic. And for the first time since opening day, which was March 28th, I think, it's July 23rd now, just for reference here. Logan went 6+ innings, goes 6 1/3 last night, strikes out 10, gives up just 2 hits on just one hard hit ball to this Brewers lineup that has been really cooking lately. He was fantastic. And like you mentioned earlier, he was really good in New York before the rain delay. It's just after the rain delay, after you came back out, things just completely went off the rails. But seemed like he kind of picked up where he left off there before that rain delay in New York. And again, he just shredded through this Brewers lineup. Thought that he could have gone deeper into this game, but maybe that was related to the fact that he was hitting 93 on the radar gun here and there over the course of the night. I don't know if it's concerning, but it's definitely noteworthy. I don't know if Dan or Logan said anything after the game. I didn't see anything about it, but yeah, it's a little strange.
Yeah, I mean, StatCast even registered a fastball that was sub 92. It was 91.9, I believe. But yeah, not great. I counted it up last night. I believe it ended up being 7 pitches that were 93 miles an hour, 7 fastballs that were 93 miles an hour or lower out of the 40-ish that he threw. It's not a huge number, but it is enough to tank his year, or not tank. It's notable, right? He was almost a full mile per hour lower than his norms last night on average. I believe he touched 96.9. So he did touch 97, but a lot of 93s. So that, factored into the, also factoring in that he only threw 86 pitches yesterday when he was cruising. I think it's fair to have some questions about, like, why did you take him out when you did? Was the velo related to that? Because he was throwing 93 as early as the 3rd inning last night. But I do know his last fastball, I think, was 93 as well. And so I don't know, is that just because you just noticed something and you want to be careful, or is it just because, I don't know, is Logan telling you that, like, physically he's getting worn down at the 80, 90 pitch mark? I don't know. So that was weird that they took him out when they did. I'm usually totally okay with aggressive bullpen usage, but you could have gotten 7 out of Logan, and then you could have just gone straight to Brash, to Munoz, or however you wanted to do it. You could have taken out one reliever that you needed to use yesterday. So kind of a weird decision. I don't think we got any clarity on that. At least I didn't see any quotes about that. So weird there. I mean, so that's something I would at least keep an eye on in Logan's next start. Look at the velo, look at the pitch count, see when they take him out and all that. But yeah, that was those two things combined, removing him at 85 pitches and the fact that he was 93 a lot last night. That's just something I noticed. So keep an eye on that. But Logan was really good last night, despite not having the best fastball. He only had one whiff on the fastball. I believe between his 2 off-speed pitches, his 3, he threw 5 curveballs.
That 6, actually, Colby.
6.
Get it right.
Huge weapon for him. I believe he ended up with, 14 whiffs on 23 swings on those 3 pitches.
Yes.
70% whiff rate on the split or the slider, 60% on the other one. Whatever.
Yeah, 70 on the split, 60 on the slider. Yep.
Yeah. So both of those pitches were nasty last night. The fastball just didn't really have any value. So kind of a weird outing, like a great outing for Logan. Don't get me wrong, but just, a little something at the end there that kind of makes you raise your eyebrow and go, I wonder. So, but if Logan's going to throw 93 all year and go 6 innings still and give up 2 hits, and only 1 hard hit ball. And strike out 10 and not walk anybody, then fastball velo, who cares? Yeah. But like it was enough for me to like kind of raise my eyebrow and go, that's something I'm watching. I believe he'll make his next start Sunday, the finale in Anaheim. So just something I'm going to keep an eye on. But yeah, he was fantastic. Best start of the year by far was last night. And you really need him to step up because it's been touch or go since he's come back. You really need George Kirby to do better. And we thought we were getting it. Kirby looked great in his first outing, and then something didn't go his way, and time to start throwing batting practice. But it was just not a great series. Castillo wasn't good today. I know he didn't get a lot of help, but he wasn't good today. Kirby imploded on himself, in the 6th inning, 5th inning, whatever it was. So once again, Mariners starting pitching, not really getting it done, but kudos to Logan Gilbert, who did get it done in a big, big way. Yeah. And, more or less single-handedly prevented you from getting swept by the Brewers and handing the Mariners a nice win that kept their head above water. So great to see that version of Logan Gilbert. I'd like to see it more. But just keep an eye on the velo and the pitch counts at which they start to pull them over the next couple of starts. Yeah, and nice to see the strikeout numbers still high, but him getting those strikeouts in a more timely fashion. Like he was actually able to put guys away pretty quick. And that's obviously been a huge issue for him. And we've talked about that. I mean, they flashed that stat up on the screen that, obviously he wasn't qualified because of the injury, but he was striking dudes out at almost a historic rate. But the, flip side of that is, he hasn't been able to go deep into the games, and it's taken a ton of pitches to get those strikeouts. So it was nice that he actually found a balance where he's still getting his strikeouts, but he's also putting guys away. And he's finding different ways to do it as well. So hopefully you can ride that momentum, and hopefully that the dip in velo is not actually a problem here. We'll see about that, but I don't know. He even mixed in, I think, like a 6-pitch inning mixed in there, 3 quick outs like that. That'll do wonders, and then you can go attack and get your strikeouts. But the slider's been a lot better the last couple of outings, and I think that pitch might be a difference maker because Logan, pretty easy to game plan against. So go for the fastball early. If you fall behind, you're probably going to get splitters. So if it starts low in the zone, just take it. It's going to drop out of the zone. And if it's, a fastball, he doesn't have the velo to really beat you right now. So attack. And the slider just gives you another wrinkle. And he threw it against lefties and righties last night. Last night. Yeah. So really encouraging sign from Logan. And then just fingers crossed. It was just, one of those nights. So, apparently the Mariners have called the Colorado Rockies about third baseman Ryan McMahon. We are going to talk about that in just a moment. But first, a reminder, this episode of the Locked On Mariners podcast is brought to you by OpenPhone. If you run a business, you know that every missed call is money left on the table. Think about the last time you had a service emergency, like a burst pipe. If the first plumber didn't answer, did you wait? No.
You called the next one. That's why having a reliable business line is so important. And that's why you need OpenPhone. OpenPhone is the #1 business phone system that helps you streamline and scale customer communication, all from an app on your phone or computer. OpenPhone is offering Locked On Mariners listeners 20% off your first 6 months at openphone.com/lockedonmlb. That's openphone.com/LOCKEDONMLB. And if you have existing numbers with another service, OpenPhone will port them over at no extra charge. Again, that is openphone.com/lockedonmlb. OpenPhone. No missed calls, no missed customers. And you're listening to the Locked On Mariners podcast. So during the Mariners beating that they took against the Brewers today, there was an article that dropped on MLBTradeRumors.com that aggregated a report from Patrick Saunders of the Denver Post.
I'm so excited he can't even contain it.
Yeah, that says the Mariners are among the teams to show interest in Rockies third baseman Ryan McMahon.
Hallelujah. Am I right, Ty?
All right, so let's talk about Ryan McMahon.
Why is he your favorite player, Ty?
He's not. That's the answer. He's
what?
Not. Yeah, and it's really because he is the dictionary definition of a Coors Field merchant. He's
not even good at Coors Field this year, so
yeah,
that's changing.
Well, all right. So this article says he has been hitting 253, 368, 500 at Coors Field this year. I don't remember it looking like that when I checked like a week ago, but okay.
You gotta remember at Coors Field, that's like a 100 WRC plus.
Yeah, I'll take MLB Trade Rumors' word for it, though. Sure. Away from Coors Field, though, this year, he is hitting 189, 265, 324. So, okay.
A little better than Ben Williamson.
So, I'll say this. I can absolutely wrap my head around why teams would have some level of interest in Ryan McMahon, because you look at the Baseball Savant page, there's a lot of red. 98th percentile in average exit velo, 80th percentile in barrel rate, 85th percentile in hard hit rate.
These are all numbers the Mariners love.
Yeah, the bat speed is really good. He walks. He walks a ton. He also strikes out a ton. He's also a really good defender.
A Mariner to me.
Yeah, he's also a really good defender. He's also due $16 million next year and $16 million a year after, which is why I wrote little blurbs on some third base options that weren't Gino and put them out on Twitter and Blue Sky a few days ago. And at the end of my blurb on McMahon, I said, well, because of the money, I don't think I have to worry much about the Mariners exploring this. But apparently they've checked in, and obviously they know what that would take. Now, would the Rockies pay some of that down? Who knows? I don't know. Yeah, I think I would just rather stick with Ben Williamson, though. Like, I understand why a team like the Mariners would want to take that shot, because again, the bat speed, the hard hit rates, all that stuff. Mm-hmm. But we're talking about a guy that, again, has been terrible away from Coors Field, and he's been in the league since 2017. He has never posted a WRC plus above 97 in his career. And again, that is down a lot by the fact that he does play in Coors.
If he put up the numbers, his yearly numbers, that he has throughout his career, but half of his games are played at T-Mobile Park instead of Coors Field, he's a 115, 120 WRC plus bat.
Sure.
It's not that simple, though.
Right?
Obviously.
No.
Honestly, first of all, this is clearly coming from the Rockies.
Yes.
And this is just a good general advice for everybody over the next week. Who's a team that everybody in baseball thinks is going to be really aggressive at this deadline? The Mariners. Who's a team that has all the prospects you could ever want to trade for? The Mariners. Who has a huge need in their infield? The Mariners. So isn't it possible that the Rockies front office looks at the Mariners and is like, boy, if they're interested in Ryan McMahon, we could probably ask for more than we otherwise would. Sure. So let's leak this out there to a reporter and say the Mariners and us, we've been talking a lot, where in reality, the Mariners were like, hey, what's the cost on McMahon? Okay, we'll let you know.
Yeah.
Isn't that much more likely as to that's what's happening here? Because it's hard for me to fathom that this ownership group is just going to sign off on adding about it'd be about $38 million for the next 2.5 years. They're just going to sign off on that being added to payroll over the next 3 years, 2.5 years.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to happen. This is the one time you actually want Mariners ownership to be like, we're not spending that money. That's stupid money. Like,
Yeah.
the one time you want them to interfere. But I think this is mostly the Rockies like, let's see if we can jack up the price on somebody who actually does want McMahon. Because in reality, what Ryan McMahon is right now, at least production-wise, he's Ben Williamson.
And at best, he's a platoon option with Ben Williamson in Seattle.
I mean, they probably would have him play a lot.
I'm sure, but they probably shouldn't.
Well, I mean, but the nice thing about McMahon is that when you look at his profile versus Williamson's, like McMahon's profile is it's much more Mariners.
Sure.
Hit the ball hard, elevate it, draw walks, don't worry about strikeouts too much. Williamson is the opposite, where he actually still strikes out a little bit too much, but he is literally just trying to, bat the ball back to the pitcher.
Field singles, baby.
And that's a problem when you're not getting the thump you need from other places, because you're not getting traditional thump from right field, although Canzone's starting to change that a little bit, but still, you're not getting that thump from first base right now. You're not getting it from DH right now. So you need it at third base, and Williamson, it's not he can't provide that. He is not capable of providing that. McMahon is capable of providing that. When you look at the exafilos and all that, it's just, okay, cool. So he's a great hitter in theory. What do the numbers tell us? Oh, he's not a good hitter.
Yeah. So, okay.
And he's expensive.
I would be able to far more easily wrap my head around the idea of taking a shot on him if there weren't roughly $38 million involved here. Like I'm totally fine with okay, we lost out on Eugenio Suarez. Let's try and take a shot on getting actual traditional third base offensive production. And at the very least, we're going to get good defense out of
without
him.
Sacrificing defense.
Yeah. Without sacrificing defense. Let's take that shot. Totally fine with that. Totally understand that aspect of it. But it's $38 million. Ish, give or take.
If he was, let's say it was half, right? Let's say you only owed him 18 million over the next 2 years and change.
Still a lot when it comes to the Seattle Mariners.
It is, but it's basically you're replacing Mitch Garver's contract next year at that rate.
Sure, but there's also arbitration increases, stuff like that.
I know.
Yeah.
But again, if the Rockies are willing to eat money, which they're probably not.
Yeah.
But if they are, you do need to find a third base upgrade. It is the biggest nexus of where you can the difference between Gino and what you have at third base is massive offensively. Yeah. Whereas the difference between Josh Naylor and what you're getting out of first base now is still large, but it is not as big of a variance as what you could get upgrading at third base. So
yeah.
And plus you don't really have a third baseman for next year unless you really believe that Ben Williamson's bat, it is not tenable for him to be your everyday third baseman for an entire season.
No.
You just can't do it. So McMahon at least has the possibility of being your third baseman next year. And if you do think you can help him, and you do think that these numbers will transfer over, and you do think that the exavelos and all that stuff, there's a what if they can help him? What do they think they can help him? And they can actually get him to where you want him to be. You can make an argument where it all makes sense.
Yeah.
But at $36 million,
it's that. And it's also you want me to buy in on the idea that you are going to take a hitter who, again, really only produces at the most hitter friendly ballpark in the entire sport and then put him in the most hitter suppressive ballpark in the entire sport. And that's going to work out. You want me to buy into that idea?
It's weird. Ty doesn't want, prime Trevor Story or Troy Tulowitzki, I guess. You wouldn't take a shot on those guys just because they played in Colorado. As we know, Ryan McMahon is basically those two guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's a crazy idea. And
like I get it in theory, but for that
on
dollar
paper,
figure, absolutely not. Hell no.
On paper, and he's probably not going to be that expensive prospect wise because of the money and because of everything we talked about. Yeah. So on paper, as a backup plan for Gino, who we heard as recently as yesterday from Adam Jude, who do you think he got this from? He said that Eugenio Suarez is the Mariners' number one priority. Yeah. That's not coming from somebody else. That's coming from the Seattle Mariners. All right. Let's be clear about that. If you can't get him, what's the backup plan? McMahon, I guess if you want to if the Mariners do have legitimate interest here, maybe can you spin it to be well, they recognize how badly they need a third base upgrade and they're willing to spend the money to go get it. Maybe, but just go get Willie Castro to be your third baseman.
The answer is no on Ryan McMahon.
Number one fan right there.
Absolutely not. That's going to do it for our show. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Locked On Mariners podcast. For Colby Patnode, I'm Titan Gonzalez. Be sure to give us a follow on Twitter at @LO_Mariners. You can follow me at Titan Gonzalez and Colby at CPAT11. That's CPAT11. We're also on Blue Sky. You can follow me at TDG, Colby at MLB Colby, and the show at Locked On Mariners. You can also find us on Instagram at Locked On Mariners. Have yourself a beautiful baseball day, and we'll see you next time. Peace.